We're just handed a prenup, so what do you do next? My name is Andrew Ayers. I'm a lawyer with offices in Edina, Minnesota and New York City, and today we're going to talk a little bit about prenuptial agreements. Now, in the past, prenuptial agreements weren't as popular. We would see them occasionally when people were getting married, but not that common. These days, they've become more and more popular, even some people using prenuptial agreements to specify what happens to their pets in the case of a divorce. So what you'll find is oftentimes one of the parties wants it a little bit more than the other party. But I'm here to tell you today it doesn't have to be an unromantic experience. It's usually just a matter of one party making sure that their assets are protected. It's kind of a sidebar to estate planning that we normally do. So people will often come to me and say, my fiance just handed me a prenuptial agreement. What do I do next? The first thing you do is don't panic. So don't be worried. Don't think you have to call off the wedding. It's not meant to be unromantic. Normally, there's a reason why your fiance is wanting a prenuptial agreement, and hopefully they talked to you about it beforehand and didn't just hand it to you the morning of your wedding. So what you want to do is meet with an attorney. You want to review the terms and make sure you understand what's in the document. After you've read through the document, maybe you have a better idea of why your fiance wants a prenuptial agreement. It's very important to make sure you understand the financial discrepancies between you and your fiance. If you both make the same amount of money and everyone has the same assets, you're probably not going to be receiving a prenuptial agreement. However, if one of you has a significantly enhanced financial situation than the other, maybe one of you has a ton of student debt or the other one operates a bunch of businesses, then a prenuptial agreement, it's important to understand where those financial differences lie. There's three main issues I see when people create prenuptial agreements that you want to watch out for. The first is make sure everybody has enough time to review the document. I was joking, but you don't want to be handed a prenup on the way to your wedding. So if you're given it in the limo on the way to the wedding and you just sign it without looking at it, you technically have a prenup, but chances are that wouldn't hold up in court. The second thing you want to do, make sure there's a full disclosure of the finances. Disclose all the documents if necessary. Make sure everybody understands the financial situation of the other party. And then third, make sure you negotiate if there's specific issues. You don't have to just sign the document as it's given to you. You want to make sure you understand what it says. You want to make sure you understand the financial situation of you and your fiance. And you want to make sure that if there's changes that need to be made, you get them made. So a lot of times when people come to me, they want to know why. Why would my fiance even give me a prenuptial agreement? I tend to see them in three different types of situations. The first, when one party has a lot of debt, and they want to make sure that the other party isn't going to end up on the hook for that debt. Second is if one of the parties has a family business to protect. Oftentimes the prenup is not coming from your fiance, but is actually coming from their family and the family business, and they want to make sure that they're protecting their business and their family business down the road. And the third is if there's a family inheritance to protect. Same principle as a family business, and they could actually be the same thing. If that inheritance is that family business, they may just be very concerned about protecting the family inheritance. So it may have nothing to do with you and your fiance. It may really be your fiance's family pushing them to get this kind of document. So there's two ways you can do a prenup. The first way is you could try to do this all yourself, but I really don't encourage that, especially if a lawyer has drafted the prenup for your fiance. You want to make sure you hire a lawyer to sit down with you and go through the prenup so you understand everything. That's the second way to do it, and it's the smarter way to do it. You want to make sure that you've gotten legal advice so that you understand that prenup. Now, if you've been given a prenup and you aren't sure what to do next, you can go to my website, andrewmayers.com. There's a red legal strategy session button. You can click on that and you're taken to my personal calendar. We can hop on a 15 or 20 minute call and talk about your prenuptial agreement, maybe go through the specific terms or an idea of why it's even in front of you and what are your next steps. You don't need to be scared if you're given a prenup, but you want to make sure that you're informed and you know what it says and what it means.